morning. Thank you so much, President McGarvey, for everything you've done, everything the building trades are doing. I'm delighted to be with you. It feels good to be back with the building trades. It feels good to be back with you in person. You know, I started my political career running my very first campaign out of borrowed office space in the basement of the St. Joseph Valley building trades in Indiana. I was right in between the insulators and the painters. And I was just thinking about how much has changed since then, how much the trades and labor movement have been through since then. We were just in the teeth of the Great Recession. Right to work laws are getting passed right and left. So many people were out of work. And so it feels pretty good to be standing with you right now after seeing a $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill passed. With some measures of unemployment lower than they've been since the 80s or even since the 60s, and joining you as a member of an unapologetically, proudly pro-union, pro-labor presidential administration. And this is a special year. It feels like we've held the designs in our hands for a very long time, wondering if they'd ever get built, but now the work is underway, and it's not a moment too soon. So my first and most important order of business here is to thank you. You all helped make this happen. Your voices, your energy in every part of the country helped get this law over the line. And that's fitting, that the men and women who are so often out on a job site when most people haven't even woken up yet are also the ones who sustained the push for this law. Even when many others had given up, even when commentators kept saying anytime there was a setback that the bill was dead, this nonpartisan national priority happened. We delivered it, a bipartisan infrastructure law in a Washington climate where most people didn't think you could get a bipartisan anything law passed and signed. And that's a credit to the work that you did, and it reflects the importance of this bill. Now, in addition to your advocacy, I'm also just thankful for your daily work, building the infrastructure we depend on, the foundation that keeps our families safe on the way to school, keeps our country competitive in a global economy, especially during these last 2 years, when showing up so often meant leaving loved ones at home, showing up to jobs that you can't do on Zoom. Getting this bill passed was, as my boss would say, maybe will say later today, a big deal. I'll just leave it at that. But now we got to deliver. And so even more than where you came in, helping persuade the country and the Congress to get this done, now you come in an absolutely essential way. In this job, traveling the country, I've seen the glaring infrastructure needs all across every form of transportation, in our ports and our tunnels, our bridges, roads, rail, and transit. And what I've seen is bridges and tunnels and other pieces of infrastructure that represented the finest construction, the absolute best state-of-the-art technology of the 1920s. But very much in need of an upgrade to get us through the 2020s and beyond. We've had years of jokes about an infrastructure week that never came. Now we've got a law that puts us at the outset of an infrastructure decade. And we've got to deliver. And that means you're going to have a lot of work to do, because we need your skills and your talents to deliver that state-of-the-art building technology of the 2020s. And as you know so well, that's not just the hard skills and the technical knowledge that you train your members in so effectively. It's those qualities like how to handle yourself on a job site, how to deal with surprises. Those are the qualities that so often help union workers and contractors stand out. We're counting on you and the value that you add to help rebuild this infrastructure. And between the funding that's in the law, the talent and the hard work of the trades that are in this room, and the unparalleled training and apprenticeship programs that you all deliver, you're going to be building things in every part of this country, from a small upgrade, maybe small by the standards of the numbers that are being thrown around in Washington, that means everything, to a community where a bridge going out could add half an hour to your trip to school or to work, to these mega projects that I call the cathedrals of our infrastructure that are going to serve hundreds of thousands of people every day. There's a lot to be proud of. But I also have to say, the way we do this is also going to have to grow and to change. Because the level of work that we're creating, even just the sheer amount of it, is going to test and strain the capacity of our building and construction workforce. And to deliver what we must, on time, on task, on budget, we cannot afford to leave any talent on the table. Right now, we have a chance and a responsibility to build a modern middle class broader than America has ever known, and that also starts with you. We're going to need you more than ever, recruiting, training, and employing people from every walk of life and every background, including more women and more workers of color than we have ever had before in the building trades. And we know you're up to that challenge too, building bridges into the middle class, bridges between different kinds of Americans, one local at a time, one project at a time, one community at a time. And I'm seeing it happening in apprenticeship programs from California, Illinois, New York, Michigan, Ohio. Places like Boston where unions and community partners are working together to help childcare open up earlier so that more parents and women can participate in the trades. More than ever, we're looking to you to create those ladders in each community that help more people thrive in those careers. That includes people whose families have been in the trades for generations, but it also has to include people who will never even picture themselves in these careers until and unless you show them the way. I'm not just saying that there's enough work for everyone. That's definitely true. I'm saying the only way we can summon the workforce and the talent needed to do all this work will be to bring everyone into this national project and leave no talent on the table. Now, on the government side, we're going to be with you every step of the way to make sure that this infrastructure law creates not only jobs, but careers. And not only a paycheck, but generational wealth across rural, suburban, and urban communities for people of every gender and race. And I know the word wealth might sound out of place here. I'm not talking about the wealthy, like the billionaires who President Biden is finally asking to pay their fair share in taxes. I'm talking about something else here. I'm talking about the wealth that gets passed down to the next generation in the form of something like a paid-off mortgage on a family home or a starter fund for college that can be passed on by parents who had that steady middle-class income and could afford to raise a family. We know that that kind of wealth is built in American families when people get access to the kinds of quality jobs that unions can secure. That's why President Biden signed an executive order requiring project labor agreements on federal construction projects above $35 million. That's why at the Department of Transportation, we understand the value of things like project labor agreements, registered apprenticeships, and we are evaluating applications for many of our discretionary grant programs with criteria that include the creation of good-paying jobs. It's why, after it was discontinued under the previous administration, we brought it back on a pilot basis, which is as far as we could go. We're so glad that under the new infrastructure law, we are in a position to take local hiring to the next level and ensure that people get a share of the work that happens in their neighborhood. And we are working closely with my friend and yours, Secretary of Labor Marty Walsh, to make sure that our transportation projects are creating those good jobs with a free and fair choice to form a union and with more pathways for people to access them. So I'll end just by reflecting on how timely the theme of your conference is, that this is your movement and this is your moment. It's your moment because you are starting to build the infrastructure that's going to carry us forward for generations and ensure that the America our children inherit is still the leader of the world. It's your moment because Americans are seeing the power and the necessity of unions to deliver the wages and the security and the dignity that every person deserves. We're seeing the strength of organizing growing across industries, from baristas at Starbucks to the warehouse workers of Amazon, and I believe that movement's going to continue to grow. It's your moment because you have an administration that believes in our bones, starting from the top of this administration, that unions built the middle class and that strengthening unions means a stronger economy and a better country. So I'm ready to work with every one of you, with all of the trades, to deliver this once-in-a-generation, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to transform our country. And I can't wait to see the pride we're going to take in the work that we're going to do together. Thank you for everything that you brought to this. Thank you for helping us get here. Let's get to work. Thank you.